everybody, and welcome back to those who have been in our first session, and welcome also to those who are joining us for the second session today. As I've said, it's a wonderful new thing that we've started here, where we're talking to all the professional bodies who we've started engaging with. And in this session, we welcome CIBA, the Chartered Institute for Business Accountants. And Nicoline, it's wonderful having you present to our students and us hearing from CIBA. We're still in the fairly early days with our discussions, but we are super excited in terms of what CIBA offers as opportunities, pathways, and the array of designations that CIBA has. It's excited me from the first time that I saw that. And yeah, it's just wonderful that we have the opportunity to hear from you. And in a sense, our students get to hear from the horse's mouth. They don't hear via us, what we're doing with CIBA. They get to hear from CIBA what you guys are doing. I know we're also looking at signing an MOU, where we're going to be talking about work that we can do together, collaborations, not only getting exemptions, but other things we can do. So yeah, welcome to CIBA, welcome to our students, and welcome to our BCom in accounting students, welcome to our PGDA students, welcome to our bridging students, all of our students that are here today. It's wonderful having you in attendance. The session is recorded. It'll be shared afterwards. Nicoline, if you are also happy, then we'll share your presentation with our students afterwards as well, just as a reference point for them to go back to. But yeah, and then just a request, I think we'll ask in the chat there, but if you have a specific question, it just helps if you post that question in the Q&A, because then we can have a thread and feed in on that. But if you do have any questions, please pop it there, and then there'll be a designated time at the end for Q&A, where you can also raise your hand and ask questions. We welcome that, but we don't want to derail the wonderful presentation we're going to have. So welcome, Nicoline, over to you. Wonderful having you here with us.
Thank you, Jonathan. Now I'm excited to talk about this with the students. I just want to share a personal story, and I think everyone, even Jonathan and Michelle sitting here with us, felt the way that you're all feeling now. Maybe in your final year, doing your post-grad or your bridging course, and you wonder, and I remember that feeling I had, and there were so many options, but you're unsure, like, okay, I studied all of this, accounting, management accounting, tax, but then you're like, okay, but what am I going to do with it? Like, I know what this is, but what is the steps I need to take? What am I actually going to do when I start working? And it's an exciting time, but it's also a scary time to say that, okay, I need to make decisions of where I'm going. And guys, I really want you to know that I've been there as well. And I'm really here in this session also to guide you and help you. So if you have any questions about career guidance, and to say, okay, but maybe I want to be a CFO one day, or maybe I want my own accountant practice one day, this is now a good session to ask your questions. I'm here to guide you, but also to talk about CIBA. So thank you, Jonathan. I'm going to share my presentation. So let's get this up and going. So we are the Chartered Institute for Business Accountants, and I am Nicoline Steenkamp. I'm the Education Manager at CIBA, and we are really excited about the youth and the youth development, and also helping the youth make decisions and informed decisions when deciding on a career path. But before we start with I want to say the nitty-gritties, I just want to show you a video so that you can get an idea about when you're leaving university and you start your career, what is the options out there? And also then I'm going to talk about how we're going to assist you in getting there.
You know, for so many of us in the accounting world, the ultimate dream isn't just about climbing the corporate ladder. It's about seeing your own name on the door. But how do you actually get from managing ledgers to leading your very own firm? Well, today we're going to map out that exact journey. We'll break down the steps to turn that big ambition into a real solid plan. Let's dive in.
I mean, this is it, right? This is the big goal. You can probably picture it already. Your name on the sign, a team you've handpicked, and clients that you are genuinely helping to grow and succeed. It's a really powerful dream, and if that's you, you're in the right place. We're about to show you a proven path to make it happen.
So that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It can feel like this huge, intimidating leap, going from being a really skilled accountant to a successful business owner. Where do you even start? The great news is you don't have to figure it all out on your own. There's actually a structured path designed for this exact goal.
Okay, first things first. Every single successful practice is built on an absolutely rock-solid foundation. I mean, before you can advise clients or lead a team, you have to master the fundamental building blocks of finance. And we're talking about more than just passing exams. This is about getting that hands-on, practical expertise that's going to build client trust from the very first day.
And here is that path. It's called the SEBA Founder's Journey. Just look at it. You can see how each stage logically builds on the one before it. It takes you all the way from just recording transactions to actually leading a firm. This isn't just some random list of courses. It's a genuine career progression all laid out. So let's break down those first couple of crucial steps.
Everything, and I mean everything, kicks off with the record phase. This is what leads you to the Chartered Bookkeeper or CBK designation. And please, don't think this is just data entry. It's so much more. This is where you learn the actual language of business, where you start to see the story the numbers are telling, and really understand the financial pulse of a company.
Okay, so once you've mastered recording the data, the very next step is to prepare it. This puts you on the path to becoming a chartered financial administrator. This is where you take all that raw financial info and shape it into something that's coherent, reliable, and useful. Think of it like this. Record gives you a pile of bricks, but prepare is where you actually build the wall. It's an absolutely essential skill for creating financial statements that people can trust.
All right, so you've got that solid foundation in place. Now it's time for a really critical pivot in your career. This is where you start to move beyond just handling the books. This is where you start providing real strategic value, the kind of insights that clients are more than willing to pay a premium for.
And this right here is the fundamental shift you have to make. You're going from a technician to an advisor. See, a technician just executes tasks. An advisor provides wisdom. Making that leap is truly what separates a good bookkeeper from a great firm owner. It's all about using financial data to guide decisions, to spot opportunities, and to head off risks for your clients. Now, this whole advisory phase has two main parts. First, you've got the report stage, which is where you really learn to analyze and interpret a company's past performance. Then you move on to the plan stage, where you use all those insights to help your clients strategically map out their future. Let's look at that difference a little closer. I absolutely love this distinction. Think of it this way. Reporting is kind of like looking in the rearview mirror. It tells you exactly where the business has been. It's crucial for learning, right? But planning, that's looking through the windshield. It's using all that knowledge to navigate the road ahead with smart budgeting, forecasting, and a solid strategy. A truly great firm owner has to be an expert at both. So, you've built the technical foundation, you've sharpened your advisory skills, and now we get to the final stage, the ultimate goal of this whole journey, taking the helm and actually leading your own practice. Now, at this top level, the path kind of splits. One option is to become a chartered chief financial officer, a CCFO, and lead the financial strategy for one big organization. And that's a fantastic career. But for all the entrepreneurs out there, the real prize is that other path, becoming a chartered business accountant in practice, or CBAP. This is where you become the leader, building your own vision and serving a whole range of clients. Let's be perfectly clear. For every single person who started this explainer, dreaming of building their own firm, the Chartered Business Accountant in Practice, the CBAP designation, that is the destination. It's the culmination of every single step we've talked about. It gives you not just the technical skills, but the authority and the credibility you need to lead your own practice with confidence. So we've basically walked through the entire map, right from that first foundational piece all the way to the ultimate goal of firm ownership. The key thing to take away from all this is that it's not some impossible jump into the unknown. It's a clear, progressive, and totally empowering journey that you can actually start today. You know, this quote really just sums up the whole philosophy perfectly. It's a ladder. Every single rung you climb makes you stronger, more capable, and way more confident. You're not just collecting a bunch of certifications here. You're building a career and a business, one solid piece at a time. So, let's go all the way back to that initial dream we talked about. As you've seen, it doesn't have to be some distant, fuzzy idea. There's a concrete, step-by-step journey to get you there. So, the only question left is the one you see on the screen. Are you ready to take that first step and start building? Thanks for tuning in.
So now that you've seen that video and you kind of understand the steps you need to take in maybe becoming a CFO one day or owning your own practice, I want you to sit there and just think about what is your dream one day. Do you see yourself running your own accounting practice, serving clients, or do you see yourself as the CFO of a corporate business, or and running and being strategic and help planning the business go further? So I want you to take a moment and just think about where you want to be one day. And envision yourself there. You see this lady standing there with the, they call it the hero stance, the superhero stance. She's envisioning herself as maybe becoming like that. She looks like she's a CFO, maybe standing in the corner office, looking over Sandton or Rosebank. So I want you to really think about what it is that you want to do one day. Like I said, this is a very interesting time in your life where you need to decide now, okay, I decide to study accounting or financial management, and then you need to decide, okay, but what is my next steps? So I want you just to take a moment and think about, okay, where do I want to end up one day? Like a CFO or accountant, having my own practice, having 700 clients and serving them and helping them grow their business. And it's two different pathways, very different pathways. So before we really come about to the steps of reaching your dream, I first want to talk about CIBA a little bit. So we are the Chartered Institute for Business Accountants, and we are not just another professional body. So we think of ourselves as a movement for professional commitment and building Africa's future one business at a time. So we talk about us as accountants as being GDP enablers, because if you think about it, every single business in South Africa needs financial statements, and every single business in South Africa needs an accountant to help them prepare the financial statements, to help them with record keeping, and even to help them with strategic decision making. So we don't think about accountants as just an accountant. We think about them as GDP enablers and to help them grow the economy of South Africa. And that also then helps to grow employment, grow income, and grow jobs and sustainability. So I really want to think about, while you're thinking about, being a CFO or an accountant, I want you to think about the responsibility you have. And also I want to say that the power you have to change South Africa's current economy, to change the fact that one day your role as an accountant, as a CFO, as a bookkeeper, depending on which route you want to go, is that responsibility, and I want to say that opportunity to grow South Africa. So I want you to get excited about your future and excited about the changes you can make to South Africa and to the economy as your position and where you're going to end up. So we say we don't train our members just to balance book, but to balance lives as well. And I'll talk about that a bit later. So CIBA's mission is to ensure that every SME, community organization, and industry in Africa employs a competent chartered business accountant who can make informed economic decisions and drive GDP growth. So we help you stand a little bit taller so you can get noticed. So also just who is CIBA and who's the ecosystem that we work in. So you'll see CIBA is here in the center, and then this is all the stakeholders that we engage with. So we engage with our regulators, that's SARS, SHAPWA, the CIPC. I think maybe a lot of this might sound a bit strange to you, like who is CIPC, but that is something that you will get familiar with once you start your career. I think all of you are aware of IFRS, the International Financial Reporting Standards. Then we also have global associations, local governance we work close with. Then we also have a strong footprint in the community. So non-profit organizations is a big, I want to say, has a big part in CIBA's heart. If I can say we're a living organization, but we really help focusing on South Africa's NPOs and also small and medium businesses to help them. Our accountants and our members really help these businesses be sustainable and keep on growing, because a lot of businesses, it's a big statistic, fail within the first 5 years. But if you have the right people on your team, which is the CIBA members as an accountants and as advisors, we really help our members help the businesses grow. Then higher education institutes like Milpark, we're engaging with students, and then also we also work very closely with other professional bodies. Then I just want to say what makes us different. So we talk about us as being an open and inclusive approach, allowing access and opportunities for everyone. We have a progressive mindset focusing on growth, innovation, and meaningful relations. We encourage members to learn and then also focusing on personal and professional growth. Now, here is where it is important. So, who is SEBA and what do we offer you once you've done studying, and what is the pathways you can follow in one day achieving that dream of maybe becoming a CFO, like I said, or maybe having your own practice? So at SEBA, we have 6 different designations. And it is a designation for every part in the finance department within an organization. So we are not just a professional body that caters for the elite, and I think you guys are elite because you guys are studying, and I think there's a lot of you that's maybe postgraduate or doing your bridging course, or maybe undergrad doing your accounting, BCom accounting. But what our vision is at SEBA is to be with you every step of the way. So our designations, we have 6 designations. We have our chartered bookkeepers, our chartered financial administrators. Then we have the chartered business accountants in commerce, the chartered business accountant in practice, the chartered financial manager, and also the chartered chief financial officer. Now, if you look at where each of this designation falls within the finance sector, and I think you all are maybe familiar with the accounting cycle. So what we did, we unpacked our designations within the accounting cycle, and that also then within the job description that you are maybe one day going to end up in. So we have the 5-step accounting cycle with SEBA's designation, and our first designation, that is the lower tier designation, our lowest one, is our chartered bookkeepers. Now, our chartered bookkeepers are responsible for recording and capturing transactions and journalizing and up until your trial balance. Then the next designation is our chartered financial administrator. Now, they are responsible for preparing your adjusted trial balance, your closing entries, and then also your adjusting journal entries. Then the next step within the accounting cycle is reporting, and that is our chartered business accountant in commerce. So our CBICs, they help plan the financial statements, they draft the financial statements, and they do also financial analysis and reviews. Then the next step is your chartered financial manager. Now, your financial manager comes in at the planning phase. So here's where they come a bit. It's more than just data capturing and having technical knowledge, but this is now where your financial manager needs to start thinking strategically. So your financial manager, they are responsible for financial statements compilation, financial management, tax planning and compliance, and budgeting and forecasting. So remember that video I showed you in the beginning, where it's your review mirror and then also your windscreen there at the front with the road ahead. So from your chartered bookkeeper and your chartered financial administrator, they help you prepare your financial records. So they help you see the review mirror and see what's in the past. But from your chartered business accountant in commerce up until your CFO, that is where you look at the road ahead and you help your businesses plan for the future and think strategically. Then our highest designation is the chartered CFO. Now, this is maybe where you think you want to end up one day, like I said, in that corner office, looking out at Rosebank or at Sandton, and you're there in a corporate environment leading a financial team. So your CFO, they are the ones that lead. They look at your internal control risk management, and they help with the strategic reporting and planning. So from designation 1 from record, prepare, report, plan, and lead, this is specifically if you think about a financial department within an organization. this is the different job descriptions that you will have within that finance department. So for every level in the finance department, we have a designation, and we are there to support you and help you grow in your career. So you can think that even though you're studying and you have your degree, you won't walk into a position where you will be a CFO. You will maybe start your position at a chartered business accountant in commerce because you have your degree, you have the technical knowledge, you can prepare financial statements. So this is maybe where you will walk into. But at SIBA, we are really here to help you grow in your career. So we are there to support you to say that, okay, you started now as a chartered business accountant in commerce, but you want to grow to a chartered financial manager. So we are there every step of the way to help you grow, to help you, I want to say, grow your skills and grow your competencies. Then to maybe in 2 years' time, you can then apply for a chartered financial manager position because we were there to support you. So that is the designations that we have. Then at the outer side, you'll see the blue circle here. We have a chartered business accountant in practice. So this is for the entrepreneurs that maybe want to start their own accounting firm one day. So the designation, chartered business accounting in practice, is there to support you in having your own firm and then having your own clients and servicing the clients. Then what we also said is if you become a chartered business accountant in practice, we don't just leave you. We then develop licenses to say that, okay, but I have my own practice, but I want to specialize in tax. Then we have a license in taxation that will help you grow your insights within tax so that you can give that additional services to your clients one day. So this is the career map that we have. I'm quickly going to talk about what is the admission criteria for each designation, so that you can understand what it is that you do need to require to become or to have one of these designations. So for a chartered chief financial officers, this is our highest, and I want to say our flagship designation to say that one day when you achieve your dream, you can become now a chartered CFO. But for CFOs, we require an NQF level 9. So that would typically be an MBA or a master's degree. Then what we also require is 8 to 10 years relevant experience at a strategic level. And then what we then require is if you have, for example, your MBA and you have the relevant years of experience, we will then do a verbal assessment with you to see that do you have the competencies and the skills to be a CFO, or even if you're a CFO, that you actually can do what you say you can do, and then we award your designation. But then what is very important is that, like I said, that SIBA is there every step of the way. So at SIBA, we don't just award designations. We are really there to guide you and help you with after we award the designation. And then we talk about CPDs. So CPDs is continuous professional development. So for you to maintain your designation, you will need to maintain and obtain CPD points. The CPD points is where we, for example, you're a CFO, so we will have a webinar about strategic team management. So we have targeted webinars for every designation so that we are there to help you grow in your career and grow your skills, and to say that, okay, I'm a new CFO and I have this very, very vibrant team, but I'm a bit unsure on how to manage each team member. We have a CPD on leadership management, leadership skills. So like I said, we are there really to help you, I want to say maintain, but also then grow professionally, and also I want to say like you're growing and you're learning, and we are there helping you. Then we have our chartered financial managers, and this is now for all the postgrads, doing your postgrads. So here we require an NQF level 8. So that's typically your BCom honors degree or postgraduate diploma in accountancy or financial management or taxation. So then we say that if you have an NQF level 8, you can become a chartered financial manager. But what's still very important is you need your practical experience. So to obtain this designation, you will need 4 years of relevant experience. And then again, we are there to, once you've obtained your designation, we are there helping and maintaining your skills. So for, like I said, for the you guys doing your postgrad, this is then the ultimate designation you will, I want to say, you would want to reach. And then instead of you maybe go further with your studies and do your master's or MBA, the CFO designation then will be the next step. But for the postgrads, the Chartered Financial Manager designation is ideally for you. I'll talk a bit later about how we help you obtain your relevant experience, but I won't jump the gun just yet. Then we have our Chartered Business Accountant in Commerce. So here we require typically an NQF level 6. So that is a diploma in accountancy, or maybe if you did a BCom general with accounting up until 2nd year, you are still eligible for this designation. I think a lot of times that, let's say, for example, you studied maybe BCom business management and you had accounting up until 2nd year, a lot of them ends up in the finance department. So for those students, or for, if you, for example, only had accounting up until 2nd year, we are still a professional body that can be a home for you. Then to obtain their experience, yes, Michelle.
Sorry, Nicolene, you could really just have finished your train of thought before you jumped to me. Anga has just asked, does the 4 years include completed articles?
It does include completed articles, Michelle, and I'll talk a bit later about our I want to say our internships and how we then also assist you with getting your designation, but it does include the articles, the 3-year articles. So post articles, then you just need 1 additional year to get your Chartered Financial Manager designation.
Thank you.
So then for a Chartered Business Accountant in Commerce, like I said, if you had accounting only up until 2nd year level, don't feel disheartened. We can still be a body for you and a home for you. And for a Chartered Business Accountant in Commerce, we require 2 years relevant of experience. And then currently we do verbal assessments, also just an interview we have with when you apply. But we are working towards a written assessment for our Chartered Business Accountant in Commerce. And then again, we don't just leave you once you have your designation. We're there to support you and there to upskill you. So we require still that you do continuous professional development. Then we have our Chartered Financial Administrators. And here we require an NQF level 5. So that is a higher certificate in accounting. And you'll see the work experience is quite lower than what we expect from the Chartered Business Accountant in Commerce and our CFM. So we require 12 to 18 months experience. And then again, for our Chartered Financial Administrators, we do a written assessment. But what we also, Michelle, I know you guys are still busy, but the students here don't, I don't think it's relevant for them because they are studying BCom. But if you are accredited with CIBA, then you get exempt from doing the written assessment. So I know Milpark is busy developing the high certificate in accounting. And once it is accredited with CIBA, the students will be exempt from writing this assessment. And then again, we support you in once you obtain your designation, so we require CPDs. And our chartered bookkeepers is our lowest level. Here you require an NQF level 4. So that's a matric certificate, but we do require that you have maths and accounting as subjects at school level. It's 6 to 12 month relevant experience. And then also we help our designation holders for them maintaining CPDs. Then this is also one of our flagship designations, and this is our Chartered Business Accountant in Practice. So for you undergrad students doing your NQF level 7, this designation will then also be ultimately for you, and then as well as the students doing the bridging course. This designation will also be applicable for you as it is on NQF level 7. So we require an NQF level 7 And over here it says 4 relevant years of experience, but I will talk about the relevant experience now, because the 4-year relevant experience is for students that hasn't gone through an articles, and then also we have internships. So this is students that has only not structured, I want to say structured work experience. And what I mean by structured is, you'll see when you do your articles, we talk about a logbook. You have a logbook, and there's certain competencies and certain tasks you will need to complete once you started working. So for students that came through a structured learning, structured work experience, so there was a logbook, you followed the logbook, you did the competencies, we then require only 3-year relevant experience. But for students that didn't go through a structured learnership, we require 4 years of relevant experience. And then for a chartered business accountant in practice designation holders, we do a verbal interview. And then to maintain, we again ask the designation holders to do CPDs. So you can just imagine every year after our finance minister reached the budget, there's a lot of tax changes that happens. So we then, for example, give new tax updates. So that specific webinars we have is for the designation holders that wants to own their own practice. And this is for this designation. So once you get your chartered business accountant in practice, you can open your own firm, and then you can also then sign off compilations, and then also we have licenses. So I did talk about the licenses. So we have a chartered business accountant in practice designation, but then we say that, okay, but if you have your own practice and you want to expand the skill sets that you can offer your clients, the services you can offer your clients, we have additional licenses for that. So we don't just say, okay, yes, your designation, you can do your own practice, have your own practice, and then leave you. So we developed licenses to say that if you want to specialize in certain services, we have additional licenses for you to do. So you can become an independent reviewer with, if you have your chartered business accountant in practice license, you can become a business rescue practitioner. You can become a non-profit accountant, so you can help our non-profits. And then also you can become a tax practitioner, where you then focus on giving tax advice to clients. So then this is how we then assist the designation holder. So you that have your own accounting practice one day, we assist you in growing your services and then also servicing clients. So like I said, this chartered business accountant in practice, if you're not planning to study further and you want to stop at your BCom accounting degree, this is then the designation that will best fit your expertise. So then I just want to talk a bit about our competency framework. Just want to check the time here. Michelle, you must warn me if we're running out of time, please. So we have a competency framework where this is what our designations are built on. So it's enabling technology, soft skill, ethics, and practice management. That is the foundation. And then the core is your financial accounting foundations, financial accounting, transactional, principles of tax, audit assurance, and then commercial law. And then for your higher level designations, for example, your CFO, your financial manager, your business accountant in practice, we also require financial management and a bit of business management as well as part of our competency framework. So what does a competency framework mean? It means that it is a framework we develop to see that what is the competencies each designation level requires to do the work that they need to do. So for every designation, we have a competency framework. And then once you apply for your designation, we will see that what you actually can do corresponds with our competency frameworks. Then just the fees. I know you guys don't want to look at the fees now, but you'll see that it is quite affordable to become a designation holder. And we also say that you can pay off your designation. So it's not just a once-off payment you need to make at the beginning of the year or the middle of the year. We have payment plans if you have a certain designation. But this is also just then an overview of the designations. You can see where each designation falls in. So from a chartered business accountant in practice up until the chartered chief financial officer. And then here at the right-hand side, we have our in practice designation. So that is when you want to open your own accounting practice. So now I wanted to talk a bit about the structured workplace experience. So what makes SIBA a bit different from other professional bodies is at other professional bodies, for example, you need to complete 3 years before you can get a designation. But the fact that we have so many different levels of designation is that, let's say, for example, you did your first year work experience and you decided, okay, but I want to rather do, not open my own practice. I want to go in corporate, or I get a life happened and you can't continue with your workplace experience, your work experience anymore. You still can get a designation. So what we say is after every year you've completed your structured learning, you can apply for a designation. So for our first year, you can become a chartered financial administrator after that first year of structured learning. After the second year, you can become a chartered business accountant in commerce. After the third year, you can become a chartered business accountant in practice. So this is what makes us a little bit different. So for each year that you've completed your structured workplace experience, you can apply for a designation. So that is what we mean, that we help you grow in your career. So once you've completed your first year, you already can apply in becoming a chartered financial administrator. Once you have done your second year, you can already apply for becoming a chartered business accountant in commerce. And then once you've completed your fourth year, you can become a chartered business accountant in practice. So we have these registered internships with facets, and then we also have accredited training offices. So you need to work at a SIBA accredited training office for the structured, I want to say, workplace experience. And then, like I said, if you complete your first, you can already apply for designation. And I think that is what makes it very exciting, is that for every little thing that you complete, you get rewarded with a designation, which is, I think, kind of very great and exciting. I want you guys to scan this QR code. We also have student membership. Our student membership is currently, I think it's 120 Rand, but we are in the busy with conversations with Milpark, and I will just confirm with our membership department that we already have a signed MOU, I think Jonathan and Michelle, but we are in the works of talking about it. Anyway, what I want to say is, because of the fact that we are working very closely with Milpark and getting all the qualifications accredited, the student membership then for you guys will be free. So what does student membership entail? So you get a bi-monthly newsletter. So every second month you get a newsletter from SIBA, where we then give articles about certain topics that you currently have in your curriculum. For example, I did an article on deferred tax. I know deferred taxation is everyone's favorite topic, but we wrote an article about deferred tax and how you can practically apply it and maybe make it easier then for you to understand the topic in your classroom. So our student newsletter really focuses on topics that you do cover in your curriculum, but also then applying it in a practical manner. And then you also get access to some of the webinars that we have, amazing CPD presenters, so you get access to some of the webinars that you have. So please scan the QR code and please join as a student member. It really helps you just to get a feel of what it is to belong to a professional body, even though you are a student. Michelle, before I start playing my last video, I think I'm going to leave some time now for questions and answers, or for questions. I don't know if there's any questions in the Q&A that we can address now.
There is one that's come through from Irfan asking if there's any RPL for non-SIBA accredited training officers experience.
Yes, there is. So RPL, for you guys that don't know what it means recognition of prior learning. So what we do then is we recognize, so let's say, for example, you did workplace experience at a non-CIBA accredited office. We just don't discredit your experience you had. We're going to look at your experience and we're going to say, okay, we're going to recognize that learning that you had at the other workplace that you were, or when you gained your experience, and then the opportunity is there for you then also to get the designation.
Thanks very much for that. There's also a very specific question from Ndobisi in the chat. It's got to do with her specific designation. So I don't know if you perhaps want to have a look at that question while you play the video, and you can perhaps just respond to her.
Okay, I will. Thank you, Michelle. Is there anything else?
Not that I can see. Very quiet.
Michelle, it's nice to hear your voice. I always feel like when you're presenting online, you're talking to yourself and you kind of forget there's an audience because it's so quiet. But I really enjoyed it, and I hope you guys really get a feel for who CIBA is and how we can really support you in your career growth going forward. So yes, just my last video I want to play. Michelle, if you can just confirm that you can see the black screen before I start. I know there was a bit of a lag when we tested it.
I can see the black screen.
Okay, wonderful.
What do our defining moments look like? Just like this moment right now. They look like pride after achieving that long sought-after goal. All the small victories along the way that didn't feel momentous until we saw them in the rearview mirror. They look like the courage it takes to take that first big step. All the times we fail and rise again. And without even knowing it, cultivating an inner strength that is contagious along the way. They look like the inspiration that comes from knowing that we are not alone. They look like the human relationships that give us wisdom beyond what data ever could. They look like the curiosity that comes from exploring, that allow us to create and contribute. They look like education that unlocks our full potential, using our knowledge for impact. They look like choosing our own definition of success, over hiding, over hustling, over pretending. They look like others showing up and recognizing our efforts after all the times we already showed up for ourselves. They look like being bold enough to be extraordinary. They look like you. Right now, right here. First, we help you see your defining moments. Then we help you seize them. We are the accounting body for everyone. We are the accounting body for you.
Thank you, Michelle. I think that is all from my side. Let me just quickly look at the Q&A.
Thanks very much, Nicoline. There is a query regarding an email address that they can perhaps use if they do have any questions afterwards. Maybe just if you have like a general one, and perhaps not yours if you want to be flooded by emails.
No, I don't mind sending my email address. Michelle, I posted it in the chat.
Thanks very much.
So I'm just looking for that question about the designation. Okay. Okay, Mr. Zonu, can I just ask you, I did post my question of my email address in the chat. So if you can perhaps just give me an email, send me an email with your query, then I can assist you with your question here.
I see there is a hand up. We are going to unmute you. If you can just give it a few seconds, then you're going to be unmuted and you can ask Nicoline your question. Tasneem, if you can perhaps just assist with unmuting.
Hello.
There we go. Thank you.
Hi. I'm seeking guidance because this is my first time even hearing about the SEBA designation. So I have completed a diploma in accounting at DUT, and I don't think that it is even SEBA accredited. And I would like to understand whether my qualification would meet the entry as the recommended pathway for someone with my background. So is there any possible exemption?
Yes, thank you for your question. We're actually also working with DUT, and with the diploma you have, it's an NQF level 6, if I'm correct.
Yes.
Just depending on your work experience, you can still apply for becoming the Chartered Business Accountant in Commerce. So you can still apply for the CBIC designation.
Also, yes, yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Nicoline. I don't see anything else coming through in the chat, and I don't see any other hands that are raised. I see one notification, but I don't see the hand. So I think if you're happy, unless there's something else that you would want to add, I think we can call the session, Tasneem.
No, thank you, Michelle. There's nothing from my side, and I really want to encourage the students really just to enjoy the time that you're at. You're never going to be here again. I know it might be scary, but I want to say embrace the excitement that's coming to you. So thank you so much, Michelle and team, for giving me this opportunity.
Thanks, Nicoline. And thanks again for everybody who has spent the last 45 minutes with us. It's been a pleasure. And Milpark is very, very excited with the work that we're doing with SEBA and the changes and the positive impact that it's going to have on US students going forward. So like we say in all of the sessions, SEBA is a really, really positive professional body. They do phenomenal work in the CPD space, and it's really a good option to consider. It's giving our students, it's giving you a broader perspective and a broader way to impact the environment around you, and that's what's so special about SEBA. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining. Thanks so much, Nicoline, for your insightful presentation, and we look forward to working with you guys again in the near future.
Thank you, Michelle.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.